You're listening to an audio article by the Common Constitutionalist. Today's article is entitled, Man Explains Why He's Walking Away from the Left. A rather remarkable thing has begun in America. It's an awakening of sorts. Well, check that. It's not of sorts. It is an absolute awakening, and it's been dubbed as #Walkaway. As most know, I, the Common Constitutionalist, was not, am not, and will never be an ever-Trumper. I wholeheartedly support the president when I believe he is right and constitutional on policy, and call him out when he strays. As the saying goes, it's not personal, it's just business. Being a never-Trumper or an ever-Trumper is just silly and irrational. But thank heavens for President Trump and the many things he has accomplished thus far. Most have been well publicized as good or evil, but known to most nonetheless. And most leftist campaigns against him have been equally well publicized. However, one campaign may not, at least not yet. It's called the #Walkaway movement, and I don't think it would have begun without Trump being elected. Up until this last presidential election, Ronald Reagan was the most hated Republican president. Reagan was labeled as the amiable dunce by the left, and to be sure, was hated by them. But as much as they disliked Reagan's policies, the left didn't suffer from Reagan derangement syndrome. Nor did they of either George Bush. The reason was twofold. Despite his conservative bona fides, Reagan was a likable guy. He was quick-witted and self-effacing, or as much as the leader of the free world can be. W was always likable and developed a self-deprecating sense of humor. The other reason was that most liberals of that era weren't full-on lunatics, and if they were forced to remain in the closet, as it were. But today, most on the left and many on the right see Trump as the opposite, and it grates on them. They hate his policies and don't see him as even a likable guy. This is how Trump derangement began. Even some on the right can't separate the man from his policies. Admittedly, it does take some discipline, not a strong suit of the left. But as the left becomes more unhinged, some liberals are waking up to the lunacy. Some are reaching the red line of you've gone too far and refusing to cross. Now, you may have heard of the #Walkaway movement. I hadn't, but I have now, and it's darn exciting. The movement was begun just recently by now former leftist, homosexual New York hairstylist Brandon Straka. His only knock is that he's a whitey white guy. Can't have everything, I suppose. He explains clearly and concisely why he has divorced himself from modern liberalism. No spin, no name-calling, and no scripted talking points, and the movement is spreading fast. In his wake have appeared dozens of other accounts from women, blacks, former liberals from all walks of life, all denouncing the fallacy of leftism. It's a beautiful thing to see liberals have their eyes open for the first time. So what, you may ask, could this mean for the upcoming elections? Well, maybe nothing, maybe something. My first thought is really, how many people will actually be affected by this to the point of leaving the Democrat Party? Maybe not enough to affect this election cycle. Most leftist phony virtue-signaling campaigns catch fire due to force-feeding by the media, burn bright for a short period, and then they flame out. In other words, they have no staying power. It's why they have to constantly uncover the next boogeyman to stand against. They do so because there is no underlying substance. There is nothing beyond the slogans and the talking points. But Brandon's movement is different. It has what liberal movements lack, substance and thought. For a solid 6 minutes, Brandon uses logic and reason to explain point by point why he left the Democrats and abandoned leftism. Because of this, he and many like him will likely never return to the left. So go to YouTube, search #Walkaway Brandon Straka, and watch the video, and don't forget to like him and subscribe to him. Someone as brave as Brandon needs all the support we can muster. Thank you for listening.